Am I the asshole for losing my mind because my wife keeps lying about passing gas? Edits. Clarification plus updates at the end. I can't believe I'm even writing this right now. The answer is so obvious to me, but I feel like I'm being manipulated? But I don't see why. I, 36M, have been with my wife, C, 35F, for a decade. Everything is great, she's my best friend, we have fun together, and she's my favorite person to spend time with. But as of late, something weird has been up. Look, 10 years in, you get pretty comfortable with each other. You've seen each other at your worst and really been through it. Which means, yes, we've passed gas from both ends and used the bathroom in front of each other. No big deal. For the past year, my wife has been farting more than usual. Again, I don't care, it's not a huge problem. But these are some pretty vile stinkers. And this might seem funny, but we're in a small one-bedroom space that's poorly ventilated. So you can imagine that there's a limit to what one can take before one politely says, "Babe, I love you, but you gotta go to the bathroom." Here's the weird part. Without fail, she will deny it is her every single time. She'll look at me weirdly and question what I mean. At first, I thought she was being cheeky, so I let it go. But when it started happening every single day, I got worried. I asked her if there was something to be worried about. We're nearing 40, you never know. And she just looked at me weirdly and said with the utmost emphasis and assertion that she did not know what I meant. The next time it happened, I asked her if she smelled it and she said no, and I looked at her wide-eyed because there was no way she couldn't smell it. My eyes were burning from the smell and she's telling me she can't even smell it? I eventually confronted her and she said it's probably a gas leak or sulfur leak or something, which, okay, fair. But we had the place inspected and nothing out of the ordinary turned up. I tried to confront her again and her answer really made me reel. She said, and I quote, "Could be a demon. If it smells like rotten eggs." I'm sorry? Is it really easier to try to convince me our house is haunted than just admit she's the one doing it? We live alone, I can hear it, but she has no reaction and firmly denies it every time. We recently had a small spat over it where I asked her why she was choosing this hill to die on and lie for, and she looked at me like I'd given her the finger. She's gone silent and I am now fully losing my mind trying to figure out if I'm the asshole for calling her out or if I'm just going insane. So, am I the asshole? Too long did not read. Wife rips stinky ones, lies constantly to cover up. Edit 1. Clarification. Someone said I should include the fact that I can hear the passing of gas many times. Not always, but most of the time. Her not farting in front of guests is also what is pushing my buttons. Is it real? Is she faking it? Is she just farting around me and gaslighting me constantly for a year? Let's say this is the case. Why? What's the end goal? Those suggesting a medical checkup. I have pushed for it. She has playfully declined, and the more I pushed, the firmer she got about dropping it, saying I was taking the joke too far. We have both had COVID twice. As mentioned before, we have passed gas previously in front of each other before sans embarrassment. It is this sudden increase in frequency and the alleged lying that has me puzzled. Edit 2. Update. So, this blew up, and even though I used a throwaway, I think there were enough identifying factors. She found the post. It was the third post she saw when she opened Reddit. I think I'll have to pause the replies to go have a more serious sit down. With her consent, I will update you all further. Edit 3. Wow. I am at a loss for words. So after she saw the post, she was understandably pissed off. She said I violated her trust over something trivial and untrue. I asked her to be real with me and sincerely tell me if she truly did not know what was up, and she said that she could neither feel, smell, nor hear herself. She then, in all seriousness, asked me if I was pulling some shit, which I vehemently denied. I then brought up the medical concerns, which she tried to brush away. I offered to go in with her, and she said that I was welcome to have a doctor mess my head up, but she wasn't going to do the same. When I insisted, she got really mad, and called me controlling and gaslighting. We are currently not speaking to each other. I have tried, but she will not budge. She said, and I quote, "Why don't you cry about it to your little incel group?" I have no idea how to proceed. So you're saying you're being gaslit? Come on, it was right there. When she blasts off her next gaseous portion light incense sticks and wave them around while dancing through the house. When she asks you why you're acting crazy, give her an innocent face and say, "What are you talking about?" Is this the only strange behavior that she is exhibiting? Also, prior to this, has she ever complained repeatedly about your farts or any other bodily function? Lastly, how is your sex life? Is she still interested in sex? Is this some sort of trying to gross you out to deter sex thing? Either she is having some sort of neurological issue or a mental health issue, or she is getting revenge for something. If you had to guess, which would it be? Oh man, thanks for the laugh. I'm sure there's going to be some responses about loss of smell from COVID, gaslighting, lol, brain tumors, etc. I literally have no judgment to give here. It's just too wild. Info. Has anyone ever mentioned that there is a foul smell? It most likely is your wife farting, but there is a small chance it really isn't. Just in case, you may want to get video proof the toots are real and coming from your wife and not some sort of underlying mental health problem. My daughter does this. She has horrible gas sometimes and she knows she's supposed to go elsewhere to fart, but sometimes she doesn't, and when we ask her if she farted, she lies. My daughter is 4. Am I the asshole for not giving up my checkout spot to a woman with fewer items? So this happened a couple days ago and I've been thinking about it more than I probably should. I was at the grocery store picking up a few things for the week and I ended up in one of those 10 items or less express lanes. I had exactly 10 things, nothing major, just basics like eggs, bread, etc. Pretty normal trip. Right as I'm putting my stuff on the belt, this woman behind me, mid-40s maybe, kind of leans in and asks if she can go ahead of me since she only has 2 things. I looked and yeah, she had just a couple small things. But the thing is, I'd already started unloading, and there were 2 people behind her too, so it wasn't like the line was empty. I just said, "Oh sorry, I already started," and kept unloading. I wasn't rude or anything, just kept it simple. She didn't say anything, but she let out this really exaggerated sigh and started muttering about how manners are just gone these days, and some people have no decency. The person behind her kind of awkwardly smiled at me like they didn't want to get involved. I checked out, left, and didn't think much of it until later that night when I told a friend the story. They were like, "Dude, you should have just let her go, it would have taken like 30 seconds. Which yeah, maybe. But at the same time I was already mid-checkout, and it just felt weird to shuffle everything around. So now I'm sitting here wondering, was I really being that inconsiderate? I didn't yell, I wasn't aggressive, I just didn't want to stop mid-checkout and make it a whole thing. Am I the asshole? It was an express checkout and you weren't over the limit. While it may not have taken long for this person to check out with 2 items, it wasn't going to take that long for you to check out with your 10 items. If she was in that much of a hurry, maybe she should have planned better. Now if you were over the limit, you shouldn't have been in the line anyway. Or if you were in a regular lane with a cart full of items, then I could see letting someone with 2-3 items go. If I am in that situation and see that, I offer to let the person go, but I've never asked to go if I'm in that position myself. Not the asshole, not even close. Not the asshole. Sure, you can let a person in, but where does it end? Are you then supposed to let everyone behind you in front because they have less items? Open mouth smile. I have never asked to cut in front of someone in the checkout line, but I have said yes if someone offers for me to go in front if they have a lot. I think it's more asshole-wide to expect that my time is more important than the person's in front of me. Don't sweat it, op. She didn't say anything, but she let out this really exaggerated sigh and started muttering about how manners are just gone these days, and some people have no decency. Manners are a two-way street, and that means accepting a stranger's no with grace and elegance rather than complaining petulantly. The fact she is complaining about your alleged bad manners is something escaping her. You did nothing wrong, not the asshole. NTA. Interrupting someone who's in the middle of checking out and muttering about manners is exactly the kind of thing the rudest people will do. The lady was being a weirdo. Saying some people have no decency because she had to stand in line is extremely weird behavior. Do not pay it any attention. This woman is pretty entitled. I have never asked to jump the queue due to having only a few items. When it has been offered to me, I have gratefully accepted. Likewise, I have given way to someone behind me with a small number of items. Not the asshole. The whole point of the express lane is that someone has determined the threshold for, I only have a small number of items, I'll be quick, and that number is 10. You can't expect to distinguish between 2 and 10 items. If you let her go, then are you expected to let everyone with less than 5 items go before you? You'd never get your shopping done. Would I be the asshole for telling my housemate to stop ordering DoorDash? This is complicated, so bear with me. I, 45 female, am a single mom, a full-time college student, and I own my home. At the end of last year, a friend, 35 male, reached out to me because he was in dire straits. He'd been laid off from his job, tech industry, ran out his severance package, and his unemployment was almost up. His lease on his apartment was up at the end of the year, and he wouldn't be able to afford to renew. So I offered to let him move into my office for $300 a month, to cover his utility usage while he tried to get back on his feet. I also said that he's welcome to eat dinner with us anytime I cook, most nights, and anything else he wants to eat, I will get with the groceries if he Venmos me the cost. As soon as he moved in, he started door dashing, and then got a part-time job delivering pizza. He still does not have a full-time job in his industry. I feel like I made him a pretty solid offer, and ultimately, the goal was for him to live cheap and save his money. Instead of eating with the household and contributing to groceries, he's gotten into a habit of ordering DoorDash sometimes twice a day. He's spending significantly more on takeout for himself than I'm spending to feed the whole household. I know he's his own adult, and I don't have the right to control how he spends his own money, but at the same time, I feel like I'm making sacrifices to provide him a home, and while I don't expect anything extra in return for that, I do feel like the premise of him being here is based on him saving money, which he's clearly not doing. So would I be an asshole if I told him to stop ordering takeout and eat from the kitchen instead? Edit. Fixed a typo. ETA. For those commenting about local rent, we're in Austin, Texas. What you need to tell him is that it's time for him to move out. If he has the money to order DoorDash, he has the money to pay rent somewhere else. You're right that you don't get to tell an adult how to spend, but you do have the right to end this arrangement that isn't working for you. Stop making sacrifices. Give him notice. Don't tell him to stop ordering DoorDash. Tell him you notice that he has a lot of disposable income now, and he needs to either move out or pay more rent. It would be better if you just gave him a deadline to leave. You don't have to explain why. Just tell him it's time to go and do not budge from that date. Info. While he tried to get back on his feet. How TF does a 35-yo, childless person in tech not have a fucking massive nest egg by that point? You are the asshole if you tell him how to spend his money. But you can draw a line and say that you can only host him for 2 more months and that you understood this to be temporary and it's time to go. Get back on his feet. There's your mistake. What if he never gets back on his feet and he's living with you for the next 20 years? There's no incentive for him to get back on his feet, asshole, for that. Am I the asshole for telling my brother to get over his ex? I, 22 female, have an older brother named Jacob, 25 male. Jacob dated this girl named Cami, 24 female, for about a year and a half. They met in high school but didn't start dating until their second year of college. Jacob broke up with Cami on Valentine's Day because he would be studying abroad in his 3rd year and didn't want to be long distance, and he wanted to explore other people. Cami was heartbroken. She was super sweet, and it was hard to watch how devastated she was. Well, once my brother came back from his year abroad, he was distraught that Cami had moved on and started dating someone else. He tried to get back together with her, but she wasn't interested. He even tried to be friends, but she cut him off and refuses to speak to him. Jacob moped around for the rest of his 4th year and a bit after, until he met his current girlfriend, Mandy, 25 female. Jacob is constantly comparing Mandy to Cami. If Mandy does something he doesn't like, he immediately brings up how Cami would have never done that. Jacob constantly talks about how Cami was the love of his life, and he should never have let her go. It's like a daily occurrence at this point. He compares Mandy to Cami, asks Mandy to dress like Cami, wants Mandy to talk like Cami, and has had Mandy dye her hair like Cami's. It's like a scary obsession with her. We were at a family barbecue on Sunday, and Jacob brought Mandy. At one point, Mandy went to grab a beer, and Jacob sneered at her and said, "Cami wouldn't drink that." I lost it at that point for the past year. He and Mandy have been together. I've constantly listened to him harp on her, and compare him to the girl he dumped. So I snapped and yelled at my brother, "Shut up and leave that girl alone. Cami doesn't want you, she hasn't for years. Mandy is a different person. Get over your ex and grow up, you are acting like a huge asshole." Jacob stormed out after I said this, and I ended up driving Mandy home. My mom thinks I'm being too harsh on Jacob. She thinks I should give him more grace since Cami was his first love, and it's hard to get over your first love. My dad thinks I was being an asshole for embarrassing Jacob and Mandy, that I should have kept my mouth shut and handled it in private, not in front of our family and friends. Jacob says I'm an asshole and is now refusing to speak to me. The only people who don't think I'm an ass are Mandy, some family friends, and my aunts. So I need outside help. Was I being an asshole in this situation? Not the asshole. Your brother is emotionally abusing his current girlfriend by forcing her into the image of the ex he dumped. It's disturbing and unfair to Mandy. You said what everyone else was thinking and finally stood up for her. Could it have been said more privately? Maybe, but sometimes public behavior deserves a public call-out, especially after a year of this. He needs to grow up, let go, and stop dragging Mandy into his unresolved mess. You protected someone who didn't have the power to speak up. That's not being an asshole, that's being a decent person. Not the asshole if Mandy doesn't think you're ta. You were sticking up for her when she was being mistreated, so it's her opinion on this that matters. If she felt embarrassed or that you overstepped, you'd owe her an apology for making this so public, but it seems like she's glad someone finally called Jacob on this. I hope you'll continue to support her and help her get away from your brother if necessary. As for your parents, maybe ask them if they'd want someone to stick up for you if your boyfriend was constantly putting you down and demeaning you by reminding you they'd rather be with someone else who doesn't even want them. Not the asshole. No matter what comes of it, you have done them both a favor. He has to realize that he can't duplicate Cammy with another girl. It's not fair to either of them. Worse, he has an idealized version of Cammy in his head. She had faults or he wouldn't have broken up with her. Even if Cammy were free and they got back together, real Cammy couldn't be as perfect as the girl in his head. Not the asshole. Your brother made his choice, so now he has to live with it. Enough was enough. It's not fair to Mandy and downright wrong for trying to make her into Cammy. Not the asshole. He needed to hear that, and so did Mandy. Not the asshole. Why is Mandy still with your brother? Does she have low self-esteem? Hopefully you speaking up will be the wake-up call she needed to hear.